this video, I want to address a question I've been asked by many clients, which is, do I need to get a capacity assessment of my loved one done in order to become the guardian? And the answer is actually, it depends. It's kind of complicated and usually involves a bigger conversation about what kind of guardianship someone's pursuing, which path to guardianship they're pursuing. So I'll lay out some of the pieces of the puzzle here to help flesh out what I mean by it depends. So if somebody is pursuing guardianship of the person, so that means they're trying to become guardian over healthcare, nutrition, shelter, safety, clothing, and hygiene. Guardian of the person covers that. That guardianship application must go through the court system. And going to court means you produce whatever evidence you can. There's an affidavit and then other exhibits. So sometimes people have health records or emails or photographs, whatever they can put together. So if they can't get a capacity assessment, all is not lost. They can still go to court with the evidence that they have, and a judge has discretion to order a capacity assessment if capacity is at issue. So if a judge isn't entirely convinced and wants more evidence, the judge can say the person who's the subject of this guardianship application must undergo a capacity assessment. So when it comes to personal care, we can kind of get by without it. But some judges will say there needs to be more evidence. In other cases, the evidence is so overwhelming that the person needs a guardian that they do lack capacity. It might not be required to have an actual capacity assessment. So say, for example, we have lots of medical records, notes from psychiatrists and the diagnosis and the evidence of the person has had dementia for many years, and here's letters from the PSW and so forth. So it can be that there's just so much we can kind of get by without an assessment, but there really has to be quite a lot of evidence because it's a big decision for a judge to agree to take away someone's liberty. So we have to bring enough to actually convince a judge, and otherwise the capacity assessment might be ordered. The reason it might have to be ordered is people have the right to refuse a capacity assessment in many cases. So I won't go into all the different sort of nuances of the law, but much of the time people have a right to refuse and they have to be told. There's no sneak assessments. Assessors can't be tricky. They have to say, I'm a capacity assessor. Here's what I'm proposing to ask, to assess. And at the end of it, based on my opinion, this is what might happen. So some people who really don't have capacity might still have the wherewithal to say, no thanks, I don't agree to this assessment. So sometimes we just can't get an assessment done. When it comes to guardianship of property, the answer again is it depends. If we're going the court route, we can get by without an assessment, bring the evidence we have, a judge might decide to order one. There's a non-court way to become guardian of property, and in that case, we must have a capacity assessment. So the person has to agree, and I find it really depends on the individual. A younger person with a mental illness often won't agree. Someone who's a lot older with advanced dementia often does agree, so it really depends on the person. If the person is admitted in a psychiatric facility, it might be that they actually don't have a right to refuse, and part of the Mental Health Act that they do have to undergo a capacity assessment, in which case it might happen anyways, and now we can go through this non-court application process to seek guardianship. So it's a big it depends, but those are some of the variables. Is this going to court or not? Which type of guardianship? Are they in a psychiatric facility or not? So all of this factors into answering the question unique to the individual of, do I need a capacity assessment? So I hope you learned something new from this video, and I will see you in the next one. And if you are finding this content interesting, please like and subscribe to get more videos just like this one.